Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I think I'm going to be doing an NBA related video tomorrow, mid-season awards. But because, that's tomorrow, I wanted to try something new today, which would be, I wanted to basically just do a top 20 pick of the NFL draft. I believe that will happen April 24th. This is my personal mock draft. If you guys don't agree with it, sure, I guess. This is my opinion as being a professional casual in this sport. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. The Titans do have the first pick in the draft, and I think most people are aware of what this pick is going to be. I, as long as many other people, do believe that Cam Ward is the best quarterback in this class. He is electric, immensely gifted, and a catalyst for making off-platform throws. I think Will Levis has been a meme, but not really that good of a quarterback. I'm sure everyone knows that. And quarterback is, of course, the most important position in football. And the Titans are going to get one as their first overall pick, which would be Cam Ward, who I think is the best quarterback in this draft. In this class, sorry. Number 2, I have the Browns taking Travis Hunter, the Heisman. Deshaun Watson's second injury to his Achilles is throwing his 2025 availability into question. But then again, no one really likes Deshaun Watson, so we're fine with that. But rather than force a rookie into a bad situation, I feel like a smarter idea would be put in a filler quarterback for 1 year. Maybe, I know Browns fans are going to hate me, but maybe reunite Kevin Stefanski and Kirk Cousins once the Falcons release Kirk Cousins, which they will, because I believe they believe Michael Penix is their franchise quarterback. I think the Browns should just invest in probably a top 10 future player in the NFL. I think Travis Hunter is going to be a great cornerback. Of course, he can also play that receiver role that, of course, I think he wants to play. I don't think it's feasible for him to play both positions. But he can, I think he should be mainly a cornerback, and then also play receiver from time to time, which would be is such a good asset on any team he plays on. So I think Travis Hunter is going to go second overall. Third, I'm sure you guys know what the last one is. I have Shedeur Sanders going to the Giants. Right now, he is a number 2 on the power rankings of the Sanders family, creating early offseason buzz. But Deion has yet to get an interview with Dallas. And unless Deion Sanders is going to be a head coach of Dallas, which I doubt, because I believe they're going to be signing Kellen Moore, I believe. Or that's the front runner for Dallas right now. I think the Giants will get Shedeur Sanders. Of course, the Giants have needed a quarterback for a long time. They thought Danny Dimes was their future quarterback. They didn't know he led them to the playoffs. They released him. And then Drew Lock had that one Eli Manning game and then just tapped out. Especially with Malik Neighbors, Tyron Tracy, that offense just needs a quarterback. And Shedeur Sanders is, I think, the most accurate quarterback in this class. Of course, he doesn't have as high of a ceiling as Cam Ward, but he's still a great option, especially for a team that is desperately needing a quarterback. So at number 4, I have Tedorow. I'm not saying that right. Tedorow McMillan going to Patriots. McMillan is, in my opinion, the best receiver in this class. I think everyone agrees with that. The Patriots are transitioning to a new offense under Mike Vrabel, and just to make it a high priority to get Drake make a clear option, because Demario Douglas, Kendrick Bourne, Hunter Henry, they're not going to cut it. McMillan can be his version of a Mike Evans, a big vertical threat who can come through in the red zone. So I have Tedorow and McMillan going 4th. I have Abdul Carter going 5th to the Jags. Abdul Carter has been going second in a lot of mock drafts to pair with Myles Garrett on the edge. But Abdul Carter has had a dominant pass rush presence this season, and the Jags have had a bottom 10 defense all year. They should really get their line together with a young star. At 7, I have Will Johnson, the quarterback from Michigan. This board is kind of a bummer for Raiders fans. They don't get a quarterback or the best player available here, but they do, at number 6. But they do get the prototype cornerback of Will Johnson. In their division, they have Mahomes, Herbert, even Bo Nixon is a new one, and they really need a good coverage talent. And I think Will Johnson is the best cornerback in this class. and it'd be really good if Raiders can basically lock up a, hopefully, like career cornerback basically, like they got with Brock. Of course, they won't get like a Brock Bowers, but maybe they can get someone equally as good. That's a bit of a tangent there. Sorry. At number 7, I got Mason Graham going to the Jets. The Jets have had Quinton Williams, but could use another dominant, explosive player on the inside. Graham was consistent, intimidating force for this Michigan defense, second Michigan player in a row, and should make a smooth rise to remain productive right away versus the pass and the run. Number 8, I have Kenneth Grant going to the Panthers. I think I might be reaching a little bit for this pick, but with or without it, he's the type of player that can really help close up Carolina's rushing lanes. Of course, Carolina might be trying to get someone like Tetairoa McMillan, with Bryson kind of breaking out last year and the tail end of last year. It might be good to get him a weapon, but he already has Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, Adam Thielen, who is a bit old. I think what they really need to focus on is their defense, and especially that rush defense, which allowed almost 180 yards per game, 1.5 touchdowns, and 10.5 first downs on the rush. A former defensive player himself, general manager Dan Morgan, I feel like he would try to further this Panthers rebuild by building both sides of the ball during the draft, and I think it's going to start with the defense. At number 9, I have Malachi Starks going to the Saints. The Saints don't really have to go through a full-blown teardown. Of course, they did extend their running back Alvin Kamara to a 3-year deal. But they need to get something in place. So while a significant investment at safety isn't really a priority this offseason, Malachi Starks can change the complexion of his defense with his playmaking range, versatility, and instinctiveness. At number 10, I have Will Campbell going to the Bears. I think everyone saw this. This is, I think, another one of the pretty known picks. The one that I think, this is also one that I think is subject to change, though, because of the Ashton Jeanty-sized elephant in the room. Ben Johnson was just named head coach for the Bears. And we know Ben Johnson to be this offensive mastermind, and what better way to start it than getting probably the best running back we've seen in a while in Ashton Jeanty. But I think, in my opinion, I think the Bears should go with Will Campbell out of LSU. The Bears need a good O-line, and Will is the best this year, I think, in this year's O-line class. He gives Caleb Williams and their offense much more time to throw and really just operate in general, which is a big problem last year, along with the Matt Eberflus situation, but that's different. Right. At number 11, I got Kevin Banks Jr. going to the Niners. After a down season, the 49ers are going to want to return to what they do best, which is running the ball through Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, etc. To do that, they need Texas's Kevin Banks Jr., who is going to play right tackle and learn underneath probably the league's best left tackle, Trent Williams, who's done it for a long time and is probably, I think, one of the best. He's been a 99 on Madden, so Jets owner, you can look at that. Anyway, number 12, I think this is the most unanimous pick. I think everyone is basically saying this, but Ashton Jeanty to the Cowboys. Of course, we saw last year, 2 years ago, that Dak is best when he has a good running back and someone he can check the ball down to. And Jeanty can do that. He had 43 catches for 559 yards and 5 touchdowns before his 2,600-yard rushing season. So, Jeanty, he is a generational talent at running back. He was a Heisman runner-up. I think he should have won it. That's my opinion, though. He has the makings of a true workhorse running back and at the pro level, while also being able to have some receiving upside, which will really help this Cowboys offense. Of course, Rico Dowdle had a pretty good season last year, but Ashton Jeanty is such a better prospect. It's crazy. I got Mikael Williams going to the Dolphins at 13. The Dolphins were ranking bottom 6 in the league in sacks with only about 35 and 16 turnovers. Mikael Williams will be a welcome addition to this defense. They have Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson, Jalen Phillips, and Williams is exactly what Miami needs to compete in a division with athletic quarterbacks like Josh Allen and Drake May, who I think will be getting the weapon in Tetairoa McMillan. At 14, I have Tyler Warren, going to the Colts. Of course, though Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard were given reprieve by Jim Irsay, the two might appear to have hitched their wagons to erratic quarterback Anthony Richardson. A strong option for helping to settle down could be Warren, a major threat down the seam who is also an asset after the catch. Of course, as you know, tight ends are super safe unless your name is Mark Andrews. They're basically a quarterback's go-to check down option outside of a running back, and having an inaccurate quarterback or a project quarterback like Anthony Richardson having an ability to check down to someone could be huge for this Colts offense and Anthony Richardson's development as a whole. So I think the Colts will reach a little bit for a tight end here at 14. At 15, I have, forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, Nick Scorton going to the Falcons. Even after trading for Matthew Judon, the Atlanta Falcons finished second to last in sacks at 31, and it's been an issue for years. It hasn't stopped the front office for going offense in the first round for the 6 of the past 7 years. Of course, you can't really blame some of the picks, like Bijan Robinson, who's been great. But I think that trend is going to end here when the Falcons are going to take Texas A&M edge, Nick Scorton. He was a 4-star recruit, 6'4", 285-pounder. He was named the Aggies defensive MVP and had 5 sacks and was third in the SEC for tackles for loss. At 16, I have Benjamin Morrison. I think he is top 3 in this year's cornerback class. I have Cardinals reaching him with Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson holding down that safety. If Arizona's get one more stud cornerback, they would have an elite secondary. So after Notre Dame's Benjamin Morrison only played 6 games this year, but because of a hip injury at the end of the season, I think this former 4-star recruit is a top 3 cornerback in this class, and the Cardinals will look at him. At 17, I believe. Yeah, at 17, I have Jack Sawyer going to the Bengals. The Bengals are going to need to fill that T. Higgins-sized hole in their offense, but of course, I don't think they're going to try to address it in the first round. Their defensive coordinator was fired, as their defensive unit was bottom 8 in yards allowed with 350 per game, and points allowed with 25.5. Their star D lineman Trey Hendrickson is up for a new deal. Sam Hubbard enters the final season of his 4-year, and they would probably need to inject some youth into this pass rush. So Jack Sawyer from Ohio is a former 5-star recruit and was a key player in the Ohio State's 2021 recruiting class. He has led the Big Ten in sacks twice and led the conference in forced fumbles this season. At 18, I got Josh Simmons going to Seattle. The Seahawks defense was improved over Mike McDonald. However, their offense was kind of falling short, leading to the firing of their offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb. That's the division the organization would regret, because Grubb was nothing more than a scapegoat for their subpar offensive line that allowed Geno Smith to get sacked 50 times, which is the most in the league. This 6'6", 330-pounder in Josh Simmons, I think, could be a huge asset to the Seahawks team, who does intend to make a playoff rush eventually. So, if they're going to need a start, they're going to need to start with a better O-line. At number 19, I have Jalen Walker going to the Bucs. The Bucs pass rush has been carried pretty heavily by NT Vita Vea, and their second-year player, Yaya Diaby. Anthony Nelson and Joe Tryon, I cannot pronounce his last name, said to be free agents. The Bucs needed some juice to their pass rush. I'm not really quite sure what they could do with Jalen Walker, but his athleticism and intelligence probably makes him a day one starter, in my opinion. Todd Bowles is a mastermind, and I think he can maximize his ability to play in a formation. Finally, with the last pick, I have Colston Loveland going to the Broncos. Again, the same thing I said with Anthony Richardson is tight ends are very safe options for quarterbacks to check down to. It'd be really good for a rookie like Bo Nix who needs weapons on his offense. Of course, Cortland Sutton, Devon Valley aren't really going to, and Marvin Mims. I think they are another contender in the Genty race because their running back room is not the best with Audric Estime and Javonte Williams. Another one they could go for are the other 2 receivers in this class. I think that could go in the first round. Emeka Egbuka and Luther Burden III. I will mention these later. These are my honorable mentions. Luther Burden III, I think, and Emeka Egbuka. I didn't really have them going in the top 20, but I think they will go either to Steelers or Chargers, and vice versa. Both of those teams need offensive weapons. Of course, we saw in that playoff game with Justin Herbert, he had Ladd McConkey and basically no one else. And then for Steelers, George Pickens is kind of George Pickens is an interesting dude. He's kind of a crash out. He's also an unreliable player sometimes, and having more depth at receiver room would be huge for the Steelers. So those are the honorable mentions. But that is my top 20 mock draft. If you guys have any complaints with it, you could tell me in the comments. Of course, I'm probably wrong. You're probably right. But that's all for now. Please subscribe. I'll post more NBA videos for those who are gonna watch. And thank you for listening. Bye.